Hey, everybody, it's Alicia, the founder of the Urban Key. Thank you all for tuning in this evening. I've been talking about this interview for the last couple of days, and I'm super excited because today I am interviewing a world traveler. And if you know me personally, travel is something that I am always itching to do or talk about. So I'm super excited to introduce to you all the Urban Key community, Nate, the creator and founder of Worldwide Nate. So I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Hey, Nate.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you so much for coming on. How are you doing?
I am doing great. I'm on the move as usual, even in a
Yes.
pandemic. So
Yeah.
things never stop or slow down for me.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. We were talking a few moments ago, so I know that I know where you are. I won't disclose it. I won't put you out there. But I know where you are, and just what was that like traveling?
It was very normal. It was just the flying part. So the terminal was pretty empty. So I wouldn't say it was pretty normal, but the terminal, it was surprising when I got to the terminal, and it was just was no not a lot of people there at all. But I had a early flight,
Okay.
so only one place that would serve food was open, and then one of like the convenience stores inside the terminal was open.
Okay.
So I'm curious to see what the traffic will be like, and the retail activity would be like during like the day. But as far as boarding the plane, they board from the rear to the front, so your status means nothing.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you start in
Just
the back,
one.
work your way to the front, and then the plane was about 65% full, so it was comfortable. It was nobody in the middle seat. I had a window seat, which is my preference, and I got off the plane and got my bags came out quicker because there was less people,
Yeah.
less bags to worry about. So I got my
Which is
check
nice.
bags and I was off. The rental line was a little bit long, but other than that, it was easy peasy.
Did you see people wearing their face masks?
Yeah, everybody was required in the terminal, on the plane. It is a requirement. So it's not it's not optional, because sometimes you might, like, I'll walk up to, like, if I'm going to a grocery store, I'll walk up to the door, put my mask on. But once you
Yep.
enter into the terminal, it's not until you exit that I took my mask off. Even when I was on the only time I took my mask off on the plane was when I was eating and when they served snacks. And other than that, I just want to be respectful of other people,
Of
and
course.
even just protecting myself. Even though the air circulation is safe. So it was pretty normal. I wasn't
Okay.
surprised by anything or inconvenienced in any way.
I think that's awesome. I think that you're brave. Honestly, I did do a little traveling myself. Probably I want to say May is the last time I took a flight. I went to go see my parents in Arizona, and ever since then I feel so stuck. Like, man, I don't know if I'll take that trip again, especially to Arizona because their numbers are, super high. But just wanted to call out that you are a world traveler. So you've been to over 50 states or 50 countries.
Over 60 countries.
Oh my gosh. You've been to over 60 countries. And so I wanted to have you come on because I feel like you're the perfect person to kind of ask, what can we do? Especially since the Black travel movement is, a lot of people are up in arms because you're not able to travel as comfortably or go to the destinations that you want to go. So where can people, kind of find that solace? Like, what can we be doing?
Well, on the international level, there are countries that you can still travel to. So for me, just a little insight. I am looking to plan a trip to Nicaragua to go surfing. So they're accepting visitors. Belize,
Okay.
some countries in the Caribbean. So you pretty much got your Western Hemisphere, Central America, and South America. A few countries here and there. Brazil is experiencing a high record number, so I wouldn't recommend
Yeah, I've heard that.
going there. And then Europe is locked down, and then you probably can get to Africa, but it'll probably be a little bit more challenging because of just a lot. There aren't that many airlines offering direct flights, and you have to connect through Europe, and it's tricky now. And I'm pretty sure
Mm,
there might be a few countries in Asia, but this is a perfect time to explore good old USA. And
yeah.
that's what I recommend for people to do. And that's what people ask me, oh, how have you been dealing with, not being able to travel? I live in
Yeah.
Los Angeles and living in Southern California. You can go to different parts of Southern California, even in LA County, and you can feel like you're getting away and getting to a different climate. Or I go surfing
I
every
can
day,
see
so I'm
that.
always at the beach. And then I'm planning to go to Big Bear, which is 2 hours east of LA. So go in the mountains, and they got the lake up there, so that's a whole different environment. And then last week I drove down to La Jolla to go surfing, and then a friend of mine that a former coworker, he's from there. He took me to areas of La Jolla that felt like I was in a different country because it had the blue and the green contrast, and the sand was almost white. And they had
Wow.
rocks coming from the shore, and then you turn around and it's somebody's backyard because like truly beachfront homes. And so I felt like I was getting away because I was going to places that I had never been before. That was my first time in La Jolla.
That's a good point. I bet there are a lot of different places like that. Me specifically, I'm here in the suburbs of Chicago. And so I know there are a lot of places downstate, especially where I can go and explore. But I'm just not I shouldn't say nervous, but I feel like in our community, we like to be introduced to things, hence the Urban Key platform, right? Introducing people to new ideas and things. And I feel like there are a lot of places travel wise that I just haven't had the opportunity to go to because I'm just a little nervous to go just because you don't know what you'll encounter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But that's the adventure. But as long as you travel with your intention in mind, then you'll figure out how to circumvent the nervousness, and just not let it affect you.
So you sound like a super outgoing person. Have you always been like this? Have you always been like, because I've seen your pictures and you, like you mentioned before, you surf and mountain climb and you do all these adventurous things. So have you
Yeah,
always been that type of a person?
yeah, yes, exactly. That's been me. I mean, there was this great poet named Bone Crusher who once said, "I ain't never scared." So I have subscribed to that philosophy even before
Okay.
that record was put out into the universe.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is that is my that is my ethos. That's my,
Okay.
that's my guiding light.
No, I think that's cool. Everyone isn't that way though. So what advice would you give to someone like me, who likes to travel but may not be as adventurous?
Well, you have to, adventure it has its different levels. So, maybe just going like you said, downstate, that could be an adventure for you. So it just depends on how you categorize what your adventure is. So everything I look at as an
Definitely.
adventure, like coming, taking this trip, or there's extreme adventure, there's soft adventure, there's just different levels of adventure. But if as long as it's pushing you outside your comfort zone, that is an adventure in itself.
Yeah. So there's no judgment. You can do what you want. You can do what you
Exactly. As long as you are trying something new, and you living on the edge and pushing yourself to do something new and different, and something that, like, that, we always say, oh, I want to do that someday or one day. But now COVID is,
Yep.
sat everybody down, and now is opportunity to do those things that you just kind of put into the back burner, and bringing them to the front, and then checking them off your list. So when
Yeah.
everything, returns to some type of normalcy, then you will feel like, oh, then you probably would have taken this time to try new things and then introduce that into the mix of what you will always do.
What you regularly do. Yeah. I like that. I want to ask you, so you've been to over 60 countries. How do you determine what country you'll go to next? Now, COVID's different, but like in the past, how did you pick which countries you went to?
Well, I would make choices based on the adventure and the experience. So I always believe the experience is first. And so I have a TV show called Worldwide Nate African Adventures, and so before the show, always wanted to visit Africa, and then so basically I sold a TV show, which is basically my dream trip around Africa.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
So that was that was how I curated that, because it's like, oh, okay, I sold the show, you gave me a budget. What adventurous stuff can I do in Africa? What food can I learn how to cook? What
Yeah.
cultures can I explore, and be able to tell these stories and share it with my audience, or with us Black people, and inspire them to see Africa in a different light, because we always being shown the image of war, poverty, and famine, when Africa is so much more than that. And I just, as a kid, even though I knew it was Zamunda wasn't real, that seed was planted, and I knew that there was some type of Zamunda that existed. And so
Yeah.
I was always driven by that desire to find something that was relative to what was depicted in Coming to America. And in those few short scenes, because it wasn't a lot of scenes in Zamunda.
For
So, but
Africa.
I knew there had to be some rich, vast land of Black people, of Africans.
Well, I had a different experience. I'm glad that you shared that. Like so much like what you just said, the images that I saw of Africa were the typical. You think that Africa is, poor. You don't think of Africa as many different countries. You just think of Africa, and you
Yeah.
just think the entire country is a poor country and disease ridden and things like that. So it honestly wasn't until probably the last 15 years, as you become, I'm in my 30s, do research and you want to travel and you have the desire to want to learn about different cultures, that I went, oh, this is not really what I thought, but still I can say that it wasn't number one for me on my bucket list to go to, because I just still, again, hadn't had someone like you to talk to, or like a friend to say, man, listen, you need to go to Ghana, or, or whatever country, to really like feel like, man, I could be a part of something and I'll be accepted, even though it's Africa. You feel like Africa, Black people, duh. But when I saw the clips of you, and you seem to be, we're just meeting the first, for the first time, you seem to be your authentic self, and you were just doing you. And I think that was so cool, because as I said to you off the interview, representation does matter. And so even for me to see you just there and comfortable, in those short clips, that was cool. I was just like, oh, hadn't even thought about it. Maybe I need to reconsider. I think that's what it's about. So I just want to applaud you for being that for adults, and kids. Like it's powerful what you've been able to do and share with everybody else.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and what it is that I'm always, travel is for me, is I'm searching for utopia. So I'm searching, for that place where I can have that peace of mind, and not have to like look over my shoulder or feel like I'm the only person of my kind that's here.
Yeah.
So when I think about when I was in Africa filming, it was absolutely beautiful to just be present amongst the sea of people and not stand out, and just people not paying me any attention, and I'm just a fly on the wall, because I was home, and it was just people that looked like me, that were darker than me,
Wow.
and it's interesting, because when I interact with people from different tribes and they tell me something about their tribe, it's like, oh, this is what y'all do or been doing for thousands of years.
Yeah.
It's not like something like we created, like jumping the broom is an African American cultural piece that we created. It's like, y'all been doing this since Shaka was running around, conquering the land.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, this is nothing new. This is your culture. This is heritage right here. This is legacy. This is generational, and it's passed down. It's respected. It's not looked at as like, oh, that's what the old people do, or that's old school. This is who they are, and there's no deviation from it. So it's just so fascinating to be in that environment and soak it up and be welcomed, because they know, there's certain people that know that we've been disenfranchised from that experience, and they want to share and give us an understanding of their culture, because it's just like that connection. They look at us as like their brother, So that's why Africa is always the number one destination on my list. Like I'm always like, well, how can I get back to Africa? What can I do in Africa? It's like Africa, and all day. Sometimes my friends are saying, no knock on Europe, but he's like, my friend was messaging me saying, oh, I want to go to Paris, and I'm like, all right, go do what you gotta do. Like I don't need to.
I want to go too. So I'm not.
Yeah.
I mean, but
Paris is cool, but I'm trying to get to Africa, get to
Yeah.
get to South Africa or West Africa where I can go surfing and just be here with my people and not have to worry about nothing.
Let me ask you, so you're clearly passionate about Africa. How has it changed your life?
You said, say it again.
How has going and visiting the different countries in Africa, how has that changed your life? You know,
Oh,
as a person, especially as a Black man, you really touched on it, but just give us specific ways.
well, for me, I've also taken my DNA test, so I know I haven't visited these countries, but I know I'm from, well, so I'm from Nigeria. I'm Nigerian, Cameroonian, and some South African. So I've been to South Africa multiple times, but for me, it's like it gives me a sense of like of wholeness of knowing like this is where I'm from. So it's like, oh, I see, I don't have a direct connection with the Nigerian culture or Cameroonian culture, but I do know like, oh, those are my people.
Yeah.
So and so there's this, I'm always try to build that bridge and help rebuild it, but it's like I have a sense of who I am, of identity, and that means a lot. So I'm not trying to question who I am or find my place in America. At the end of the day, if as the boo boo is hitting the fan right now, at the end of the day, I can go to Nigeria, Cameroon, and I'm like, oh, these are my people. I mean, I have to figure it out,
Learn a new
but
culture.
I know
Yeah.
this is home.
Wow. What was the food like there?
The food was amazing, and that's
Amazing.
part of my show, is that I wanted to, the first segment is the culture and the food, because I want to, it's like this normalcy of, people asking, what do they eat in Africa? And I'm like, food. I'm like, do you realize that there's evidence that the first man came from Africa, and Africa's been around for centuries? So they've been doing this food thing longer than America has even existed.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's always oxymoron when people ask these questions, not to look
No,
down at
no,
anybody,
no.
but
I get what you're saying.
it's just funny. It's like, well, they eat food, and they've been cooking food for a long time, in the second largest continent, for a
You know what?
lot of people.
Let me clarify, because now I'm just like, I gotta clarify my question. Let me go deeper. So I know that there is food, but I want to know, because I've never tried African food. I feel crazy saying it, but I'm admitting it. I'm even here. Like, I know there are places up north. I know there's like a million places to go try African food. I haven't tried it because one, food is personal, right? So we tend to go to things that we're comfortable with, that we know, that we're familiar with. And so I'm not familiar. So like I said, I like to be introduced to new places, different foods. So I'm just curious. If I travel to Africa, that's gonna be number one for me. Is
Got you.
I'm a foodie. Let me clarify. So I'm just like, what are we eating?
And okay, let me preface is that I am a professional eater,
Okay.
so I'm going to eat any and everything regardless. So I'm very adventurous, and I'm not
Okay.
scared of and trying any type of food. I had went to the extreme and tried cooked the sheep's head on my show. It's called Smiley in Lesotho, and ate a piece of a sheep's tongue, an eyeball. It was.
Mm-mm.
I wouldn't say it was tasty. It was traumatic, but
Yeah.
I had to do it for the show, like do it for the gram. I had to do it for the show.
Oh,
But
uh-uh.
but the food is delicious. Everybody has different recipes. So the South African food is gonna be, a variety, because they have like so many tribes in South Africa. So
Yeah.
it's very tribal, and then in Kenya the food's gonna be different, and different food is offered. But then they do have 5-star, well, Michelin star restaurants, and then luxury restaurants too. So you have the cultural food that, I had my Zulu friends that took me to a spot, and I had some Zulu food, and then I had made food on a 5-star train, and 5-star restaurants with a chef, and I did a wine tasting with a sommelier, African brother.
Yeah.
So there is the whole gambit of food in Africa. You can try it all, and so it's basically the same options we have here in the States. Is just that it's just in Africa, and so it has the African flavor on it.
Yeah. Okay. I had to ask. Sorry.
Oh yeah. No. It's all good. I love, like, I love when people ask that question, because I just want them to know that, because that's like the number one question people ask for any country, is like, what do they eat? How does
Yeah.
the food taste? So it's always good to let people know, reassure them that the food is great. And I always wanted to, from getting asked that question over the years, I wanted to highlight that in the different episodes of my show, so people can see like, oh, that look good. I want to taste that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, I think I would ask that question even in Europe because, they have some pretty interesting things. It's not American. It's not what I grew up on. So, snails, I don't know if I would try escargot. You know what I mean? Just different things that you're afraid to try. But I think that for me personally, and I hope for other people that are watching, like I'm in a space where I just want to try new things. I want to be more open. You know
That's
what I
beautiful. You being adventurous.
mean? Let's not go too far now. I mean, just little baby steps. But
Hey, once you start, you won't stop.
well, I'm all for it. So I want to get back to, what are some things that we can do? Especially, let's start at a base level. So people who aren't as adventurous, like give us specific things that we could be doing. Some people don't know. Some people are really just in the house, watching the news and, help us out.
Well, okay, a baseline. What you could do is you could set a destination on your GPS, your Google Maps, and go for a run. You know,
Okay.
I mean, that's the basic. You could run to a different neighborhood and you can start doing a one-way run. 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 miles, and worst case scenario, you can Uber back.
I like that. Actually, I've been doing walking tours. Do you ever do walking tours?
I have on trips, certain trips. Yeah, I done one in Italy that was real nice, in Rome, and a few other
Okay.
places.
Well, look. It was fancy, but it wasn't in Italy or Rome. It was in the north suburbs of Chicago. So thinking
Oh,
past
nice.
Evanston, which is like it's a really well-to-do area in my opinion, and people have money. And then so you've got there, Glencoe, and a few of the other surrounding suburbs. And my husband and I, we just went and we just looked at the homes and we just went and admired, and it was really close to the lake. So,
Yeah,
we were like, just kind of like looking at people's mansions, these, huge, huge estates. You can look through their front door, you can see straight out to the lake. So that's something that I'm just like, oh man, just something interesting that I never had done before. Just
that
something to
sounds
do.
cool.
It was cool. I was just like, man, I need to get my money up. I'm like, who lives? That's what I really wanted to know. Like, who lives in these houses? Is this like passed down money? Is it
Right.
generational wealth? Are
Everybody looking for a black
Florida?
friend now, so it's like
Listen, I'm like, oh my goodness.
gotta knock on their door, like, hey.
Hey. All right. So I want to thank you. I know that you have like so much that you're doing. One thing that I wanted to ask you about is your clothing line. So I know that
Yes.
you serve. So tell us about that.
So it's called Kavata Swimwear. It is the first black-owned surf performance swimwear line. And Kavata is my late sister Lainie's middle name. So my sister, her name is Lainie Kavata Fluellen. She
Wow.
passed away from triple negative breast cancer. And so I wanted to honor her by naming the clothing line after her. And the portion of the proceeds goes towards her foundation, which is Lainie Fluellen Charities. And they raise funds for research for triple negative breast cancer. So it's an aggressive tumor that disproportionately affects African American and Hispanic women, which leads to low
Yeah.
survival rates. So it's multifaceted because it encourages people to experience the water and live the aquatic lifestyle, but it also invests in saving black women and Hispanic women's lives, by that purchase. So it has the cause-based purpose as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
so
think
I'm
that's
excited about it.
fantastic. Can I ask you, how old was your sister
So
when she
she was diagnosed at 35 and she passed away at 39. And so what happened is that we don't have a history in our family of breast cancer. So this is part of the foundation is the awareness part, is that when she called to make an appointment, they set it 3 months later. And what she should have done is that she had felt the lump. She should have told whoever the nurse that she felt the lump, and then they would have got her in sooner. Because by the time she did get to the doctor, it had metastasized to the size of a grapefruit. And so it was because such an aggressive cancer.
Yeah.
And so it's great for women to know how to perform self-examination, because typically health insurance doesn't cover mammograms until women reach 40. And with triple negative breast cancer, Black women, Hispanic women can be diagnosed, or this tumor can start to grow well before the age of 40, which is really like when the starting point historically of when breast cancer start to appear in certain people.
Wow, that's heavy. I'm so sorry about your sister passing, and thank you for sharing it. I'm that hits home. I'm in my 30s, so it's just another thing for us to really deeply think about.
Right.
That it's something that could happen, and just bringing the overall awareness to it. How can people find out more about the foundation?
So the website is Laini Fluellen Charities. Fluellen is spelled F like Frank, Luellen. So LainiFluellenCharities.org is the foundation's website. And
Okay.
the swimwear line, our website for Kavata is Kavata Swim. So Kavata is spelled Kavata. Swim.com. So Laini and Kavata are Swahili names. So my mom gave my sister the Swahili names, and then I got Nathan. Which is biblical.
Mom knows best.
But my sister is popping.
It's a beautiful name. It's a beautiful name. So what else do you have going on before we go? Do you have anything else that you want to let the people know that you're a part of or working on?
Well, I also have a podcast. It's called Escape with Nate. And so that where I interview celebrities and travel influencers about travel.
Yeah.
So it's the podcast that travels. So that can be found on Spotify, Apple Music, and Podbean, and a lot of places where you find podcasts. But Kavata Swimwear is what I'm working on. We're really passionate about right now until things open back up. But yeah, it just launched on Sunday. So we've just been cranking.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's been exciting,
Yeah.
Getting a lot of organic sales, and people have been supporting, and it's a beautiful thing. And it's also great where I'm able to share the story about my sister, and people have been responding to that. So I hope that just even them hearing the story makes them more aware, and remember that people, that breast cancer is something that we need to put an effort into as a community to be able to find a cure for.
Yeah, I agree that we have to keep talking about the things that affect our community, because it's with so many other things that go on, the health part suffers.
Right.
So I think that's something that we need to do a better job in, for sure. But let everybody know where they can follow you on Instagram. I love your Instagram page, FYI.
Oh, thank you.
Instagram page is...
I appreciate it. My Instagram is This is at Worldwide Nate, Nate. That's where you can find me. Every social media platform is Worldwide Nate.
Awesome. And you guys, you can follow the Urban Key on all platforms. Nate, thank you so much for coming on. This has been one of my up there interviews. Like I said, I always wanted to just kind of see what you were into, like even just because I've been following you for the last couple of years. So I was super excited that you agreed. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. And you guys, please go out and follow him, follow the foundation. I'm going to put the links and everything on this video. So if you don't catch it, if you didn't catch it, you'll be able to find it. And I hope that we can keep in touch and enjoy your travels, and hope to talk to you soon.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, Nate. Bye.
All right, bye-bye.